What to do, YouTube? It's Kendall, and today I'm going to be talking about how everything you want, all your desires, everything, the girl you want, for the women watching my channel, the type of guy that you desire, the money, whatever you want is already around you. You're just not on the right frequency to see it. And before I get into this, no, I don't know everything about life. I'm not a guru. I'm not a guru or anything, but this is just something that I've observed and learned over the years. I kind of had a crazy isolation stage where I just started to realize a lot of patterns and a lot of stuff that I wasn't really paying attention to that I desired. But what I found out when I was, kind of in my isolation stage, when I was forced to think for myself, um, that all my desires were already around me the whole time. I just wasn't on the right frequency to see it, right? And what do I mean by frequency, right? So I'm gonna give the example of a shoe, right, or a piece of clothing, right. A lot of us, we go shopping for clothes or we shop for a shoe, and when we're about to go buy something, we do our research. Or at least I would hope you do your research. One of my previous YouTube videos, I gave an example of a shoe, right. So when you're about to buy a shoe, you are literally you're probably gonna go on Google. You're probably going on YouTube. You're gonna research the shoe before you buy it, right. You're gonna be looking. You're gonna change your whole algorithm, right, to look at this shoe. You're gonna start looking at it on YouTube, Google, TikTok, uh, what else? Instagram, all the social media apps for this shoe, right? And because you're paying attention to it, it's ironic that you start seeing the shoe more, right? You start seeing it on your For You page more. You start seeing it in real life more, right? And I'm gonna look. 5 months ago, about 5 6 months ago, I bought a new shoe, right? And I was doing a lot of research, and I thought the shoe was kind of rare, but it wasn't until I was doing all this research on the shoe, and I was looking it up on TikTok, I was looking it up on YouTube, I was doing all that, bro, because I was looking it up on Google to find the best deal on the shoe. I was doing all this, and what I came to realize is that I started to see this shoe a lot more. And that's common sense, but I started to see the shoe in person. I thought the shoe was kind of rare, right? I thought the shoe was kind of rare, so I was like, wait a minute, I thought the shoe was rare. Why am I seeing it in person? I see this other guy wearing the same shoe that I want, or the same shoe that I'm about to get. And the whole time, this guy already, like, ever since the shoe came out, people were around me wearing it. But what you got to understand is that I wasn't on the right frequency to see the shoe, right? Because I wasn't paying attention to it. But because I was paying attention to the shoe, I started to see the shoe a lot more, right? And this is what I'm saying. Everything you want is already around you. You're just not on the right frequency. You are what you consume, right? So because I was consuming the shoe so much and I was obsessed with the shoe, I started to pay attention to the shoe a lot more. It started appearing on my For You page a lot more. Even there was a damn rapper that even made a song about the shoe. They call it Earl Bimps, bro. They call it Earl Bimps, but what I'm saying is, it don't matter what shoe it is, but whatever piece of clothing or whatever, you probably did your research and you thought it was a rare piece of clothing. You thought it was rare, right? But it's not all that. It's not as rare as you thought it was because other people were already had the same piece of clothing. You just weren't in tune with the right frequency to see it, right? And that's just like this game of life. Whatever you want, bro, the type of girl you want, or for the women type watching my channel, the type of dude that you've always wanted, the money is already around you. You're just not on the right frequency. And that's what I'm saying. You got to be in tune with the right frequency to see the things that's around you, right? And look, I'm gonna give the example of a radio dial, right? So if you know if you know what but my grandma used to have this huge radio. This thing weighed like 40 pounds, bro. This thing weighed like 40 pounds, and my grandma used to have this huge radio, and we used to have to turn the dial to get on the right frequency. If you don't turn the dial the right way, you're just gonna hear a bunch of clatter and a bunch of noise and all the other crap, right? But once you tune into the right frequency, you can hear the radio loud and clear. Like I said, that's like just game of life. You gotta be aware of what you're consuming. This is why I say that don't doom scroll. I'm not saying I'm perfect, bro. I have my days where I doom scroll, but now that I'm aware of it, I'm aware of when I doom scroll. So I try to limit myself as much as I can on social media, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not saying y'all gotta do what I did, but I took a whole month break off of social media. I went, bro. It was so much stuff that was going on in my life. I just took a whole month. Bro, it deserves a whole YouTube video. I'm gonna make a YouTube video about it real soon. But I went 30 days, 30 nights without social media, and to clear my mind. And I was like, holy shit, bro. This world is so chaotic, bro, and that's what I'm saying. Social media will have you thinking that it's not your own original thinking, right? You got so many opinions coming in left and right that you forget how to think for yourself, bro. There was literally a thing. I think it's on YouTube somewhere where these kids were literally, I think it was 5 kids in the room, and they had a line, right? This is the longest line, right? It was like 5 kids in the room, and 4 kids were told to choose the shortest line. This is the shortest line. I hope you got. Hold on, let me. Yeah. So 4 kids were told to choose the shortest line, but the one kid wasn't told that. But they told everyone to just choose the longest line. But the 4 kids knew to choose the shortest line, just because they were told that, right? And because this is obviously the longest line, right? So the question was to choose which line is the longest line. This is obviously the longest line, but because these 4 other kids chose the shortest line because they were told to do that, they already knew which one was longest, the longest line. That's common sense, right? We all know this is the longest line, but because the other kid wasn't told that, and he followed the crowd, right? He followed the crowd, and because the other 4 kids said that this was the longest line, this is obviously not the longest line. But because the other 4 kids were told to choose the longest line, the shortest line right here, the other kid chose the shortest line, knowing damn well this is the longest line. Bro, that's like social media, bro. Like, I'm telling you, it erases your critical thinking. I think we've lost critical thinking, and that's what I'm saying. But like I said, you are what you consume. So if you consume a bunch of nonsense, you're gonna be seeing nonsense. You're gonna literally start to become nonsense if you consume a bunch of content about how men ain't shit, women ain't shit. You're gonna start attracting women that's not shit, because guess what? Women and men that's not shit. Whatever you are, whatever gender you are, I don't care. Whatever gender you are, but you're gonna start attracting that because you see it a lot more. You're on the right frequency to attract that nonsense, right? But bro, I'm gonna give you guys another example. Like, when I look, summer 2024, I was working a terrible job, and I was like, before I go to college, well, when I was in college and it was time to, get another job for the summer, I refused to work that job I worked in summer 2020. But it was a mixed summer. It was a good and bad summer, but man, the bad parts were bad. But I was working a shitty job. I did not like this job at all, and I was like, I refuse to work this job again for another summer. So what did I do? Bro, I got so obsessed with getting an internship, bro. I didn't know who. I at least tried, right? And that's what I'm saying. You gotta at least try, but I didn't know that the people that were already around me, I didn't know that they even had internships until I started asking. I just started running my mouth about internships, and guess what? Opportunity open, bro. I changed my entire algorithm. For some of you guys that got doom scrolling problems, I changed my entire algorithm. I changed my entire algorithm just so I could start learning more about how to get an internship, right? Because I didn't want to get a regular job. I wanted an internship for the summer. And guess what? Because I changed my entire algorithm, bro. Like I said, look, you don't have to delete social media like I did. I currently just downloaded it back, but I'm in the process of changing my algorithm again. But summer, bro, after summer 2024, I changed my entire algorithm because I was sick and tired of seeing bull crap. I wanted to see how to get an internship, and that's what I did. Because whatever you interact with on social media is going to push more of that content. So if you're interacting with nonsense, it's going to push more nonsense. And guess what? You're going to start to see more nonsense because you're consuming nonsense. You are what you consume, right? You are what you see. That's what I'm saying. You gotta. It's all happened. Look, it's all about what you see through your eyes. God gave you 2 of these things. God gave me 2 of these things to see. I changed my entire algorithm, and because I was seeing internships, all this information about internships, guess what? I started to think nothing but an internship. That was the only thing on my mind. My grades and trying to get a damn internship because I wanted one that bad. I refused to work. I refused to work that same job again for another summer. So eventually, an internship opportunity opened up, and I took the opportunity. Right, that's what I'm saying. You can change your entire algorithm. That's a hack right there. I think it's common sense, but common sense is not so common these days. So you can change your entire algorithm to match what you want, right? Like I said, everything you want is already around you. You're just not on the right frequency. The cars, the money, the type of women you want, or for the women that's watching my channel, the type of men that you want. They're already around you. I can't stand it when some of my homegirls be like, men ain't shit this, men ain't shit that. I can't stand men and all this stuff. Like, bro, there's so many good men that I know, but because you choose to entertain bullshit, because you choose to entertain that, you start to see more of it because you're on the right frequency to see more of that. But you're not on the right frequency to see the good men that you want. But the whole time they're already around you. You just refuse to change yourself. And that's what I'm saying. Whatever you want, whatever you desire, you're gonna have to become that. You're gonna have to become what you want. You're gonna have to have the mentality. You're gonna have the mentality shift. So if you want that good girl, observe that good girl. See how she acts. See what type of characteristics that she has, and you're gonna have to become that, right? I'm not saying you gotta change your whole personality, but it's some stuff that you just can't do. And I can't stand it when Mr. 2 pairs of purple jeans, Balenciaga tracks, and damn purple hoodie wants a perfect girl. No, bro, they're not attracted to that. That's not how this shit works, bro. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to change you don't have to change what you are, but you're gonna have to change the way you look at life, and you're gonna have to change your mentality, right? Because the good girls aren't attracted to that. You're gonna have to change yourself a little bit. I'm not saying you gotta lose your whole personality. Don't do that, but that's what I'm saying. You gotta consume something different because obviously you're not on the right frequency. That's what I'm trying to say. You're not on the right frequency. It's all about what type of frequency you're on, bro. If you're on a low frequency, you're gonna start attracting bad outcomes, right? But anyways, though, that's the YouTube video today. I hope I made this a little bit simpler. I hope I'm making sense to y'all, but like I said, thank you guys for watching my YouTube video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. More YouTube videos like this coming soon.